All right, we know artificial intelligence is here to stay. And if you spend any time online over the past 2 years, you've likely used it. Maybe you communicated with a virtual chatbot or seen advertisements for it. Well, now a new lawsuit has been filed against one of the more popular chatbot services. It's called Character AI. The parents behind the lawsuit say this AI is encouraging children to harm themselves or others. ABC 10's Glenn Jones in the newsroom for us with details on the lawsuit. Glenn.
Corey, this is worrying. At the heart of this lawsuit is a feature on Character AI called companion chatbots. Humans can text directly with these tech companions as if they're speaking to a real person. But what happens if the bot tells you to do something that's harmful or illegal? That's what some parents are saying is happening. One woman says a chatbot convinced her son to cut himself. She says a look at the conversation retrospectively showed the bot told the boy it would, quote, feel good. In a different conversation, the boy complained to the bot that his parents were limiting his screen time. How did the bot respond? Well, it allegedly said, quote, I'm not surprised when I read the news and see stuff like child kills parents after a decade of physical and emotional abuse. Google has invested in Character AI, but is now distancing itself from the app. For its part, Character AI didn't respond directly to the lawsuit, but said it's introducing new safety features for users under 18 years old. When logging on, you have to provide a birthday. But parents say there's no way the app can double check it's receiving accurate information. So if the user says they are 22 years old and really only 15, there's really no way for the app to know. Back to you.
Very interesting. Glenn, thank you very much. Let's continue this conversation with communications professor Michael Serazio of Boston College. Michael, there's been a lot of research done and suggestions made to parents on how to keep their kids safe on social media, but chatbots are a totally different thing. We hear about, them helping kids cheat in school or something. The tech isn't as clear to many people out there. So what advice would you give to any parent who is worried their child is getting involved with this sort of technology?
Yeah, the technology is moving exceedingly quick nowadays, and it's tough to keep up with it in that regard. I think it's important to keep the sort of social, emotional context in mind as well. Within the United States as a whole, we're sort of living through a general loneliness crisis that was deeply exacerbated by the pandemic. And that was very true for young people for whom they were kept out of school and kept away from friends. So I think that there's that part of it that's motivating this problem. In terms of how parents can sort of think about this challenge of keeping their kids safe in the context of AI chatbots, to me, moderation has to be the answer. Being thoughtful and deliberate in terms of screen time, in terms of the engagements that they have with these tools. It's worth keeping in mind that many of the creators of these technologies, folks like Steve Jobs and others, don't actually allow their own children, did not in the case of Steve Jobs, and do not for others who are still living, allow their own children to be very attentive and very engaged by these types of chatbot devices. So I think moderation tends to be the key. Make sure that students and young people are not spending overwhelming amounts of time, even as that kind of loneliness problem may well be motivating them to take part in these schemes.
So let's say my child isn't using these chatbots yet, and I want to talk to them before they end up talking to one. What do I need to tell them so they really take home the message of just how potentially damaging these things can be?
Yeah, I mean, it's a case of technology and media literacy needing to come to the forefront here. These are some of the most powerful supercomputers that have ever been designed, and they're put right in our pockets and right in our kids' pockets every single day. It's based upon advanced technology that's coupled with psychological vulnerabilities to try to keep us tethered to these devices. I think what is important for parents to stress, particularly if they're wondering whether or not their kids will get wrapped up in them, is to remember that attention is the most precious thing that we have. In fact, in some ways, if you love someone, the greatest gift that you can ever give them is your attention. And so I think in monitoring and trying to have honest conversations about how much of their attention they're giving these chatbots, how much they're engaged in these apps is really valuable. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about simply knowing where your kid's at in terms of their emotional and psychological well-being, because that in some ways is the more important context here as opposed to the newest, latest technology that can pass the Turing test.
It's a brave new world out there. Professor Michael Serazio, thank you for your time and insight. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.